If you are over 60 and doing everything right, but your belly fat refuses to budge, I want you to pause for a moment, because the problem is not your discipline, your effort, or your willpower. In fact, what you've been told for years may be working against your body. I'm Dr. Christina Serrati. And today I want to explain something most doctors never talk about: why eating less and moving more often fails after 60. And how stress hormones quietly lock fat around your waist. Many of my patients come to me frustrated and exhausted. They eat salads. They walk daily. They skip desserts. Yet their stomach feels heavier than ever, like a tight belt they can't loosen. Some are even gaining belly fat despite eating less than they did 10 years ago. If this sounds familiar, please hear this clearly: you are not broken. What's really happening is something called a stress survival response. After the age of 60, your body becomes far more sensitive to stress. Not emotional stress alone, but physical stress, like undereating, strict dieting, and excessive cardio. When your body senses scarcity, it flips on an ancient protection system designed to keep you alive during famine. That system is controlled by a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is not evil. It's meant to protect you. But when it stays high for too long, it sends one dangerous message to your body: hold on to fat at all costs. And where does your body store that fat? Right around your organs, your belly. Here's the mistake most people make. They see belly fat and respond by cutting calories even more or pushing themselves harder with exercise. But for an aging body, that feels like danger. Your adrenal glands respond by releasing even more cortisol. The result? Your metabolism slows, fat cells lock shut, and weight loss becomes nearly impossible. This is why calorie counting stops working. This is why intense cardio backfires. This is why your belly feels stubborn and unresponsive. You are not overeating. Your body is overstressed, and the more you fight it, the tighter it holds on. What your body actually needs is not punishment, it needs reassurance. It needs a signal that food is available, stress is low, and survival mode can finally shut off. Once that signal is received, something remarkable happens. Cortisol drops. Your nervous system calms. And your body finally allows stored fat to be released, naturally, safely, and without suffering. In the next part, I'm going to expose the biggest myths seniors are told about sugar, exercise, and dieting, and why one surprising food can lower stress instead of raising it. For decades, people over 60 have been given the same advice on repeat: cut sugar, eat less, move more. On the surface, it sounds logical. But for an aging body, this advice often creates the exact opposite result: more belly fat, more exhaustion, and more frustration. Let me explain why. The biggest myth I want to break today is this idea that all calories affect your body the same way. Your body is not a calculator. It doesn't simply subtract calories burned from calories eaten. Your body is a living chemistry lab, constantly responding to signals of safety or danger. When you remove foods you enjoy and live in a constant state of restriction, your brain interprets that as stress. Even if your blood sugar stays stable, your nervous system does not. And when the nervous system is stressed, cortisol rises. This is where things go wrong after 60. High cortisol tells your liver to release extra glucose into the bloodstream, even if you didn't eat sugar. It tells your fat cells to stay locked. It tells your body to conserve energy instead of burning it. That's why many seniors notice belly fat increasing despite eating less than ever before. Another myth is that exercise must be intense to be effective. Long cardio sessions, fast walking for extended periods, or pushing through fatigue might feel productive, but for many older adults, this creates physical stress instead of metabolic benefit. Your joints hurt. Your heart works harder. Your recovery slows. And cortisol remains elevated for hours afterward. That doesn't mean movement is bad. Gentle walking, light strength training, and mobility work are wonderful. But punishing workouts combined with strict dieting send a loud message to your body: we are under threat. And a threatened body does not release fat. Now, let's talk about sugar, because this is where most fear lives. You've likely been told that anything sweet automatically leads to weight gain. But sweetness itself isn't the enemy. Uncontrolled stress is. In fact, eliminating every enjoyable food can increase cravings, anxiety, and nighttime overeating, all driven by cortisol spikes. Here's the truth many people never hear: certain foods can actually lower stress hormones, calm the nervous system, and help your body feel safe again. When your body feels safe, digestion improves, sleep deepens, Hunger hormones stabilize. And most importantly, fat loss becomes possible again. The goal is not to burn fat aggressively. The goal is to remove the hormonal block that's preventing fat loss in the first place. Once cortisol comes down, your metabolism doesn't need to be forced. It begins to work with you instead of against you. In the next part, I'm going to reveal the one surprising food that research shows can actively reduce cortisol levels when used correctly, and why it works so well specifically for people over 60. Now that you understand why stress, not calories, is blocking your weight loss, it's time to talk about the solution. And yes, it may surprise you, the food I'm about to share has been misunderstood for decades. Most people were taught to fear it, avoid it, or label it as a cheat. But when used correctly, this one sweet food can actually lower cortisol, calm your nervous system, and help release stubborn belly fat, especially after age 60. That food is dark chocolate. Before you dismiss this, let me be very clear. I am not talking about milk chocolate, candy bars, or sugar-filled desserts. Those products do spike insulin and worsen inflammation. What I'm talking about is high-quality dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa. Real dark chocolate is a completely different food. It contains natural compounds called flavonoids, which have been shown to improve blood flow, support brain function, and, most importantly, reduce cortisol production. When cortisol levels fall, your body receives a powerful signal that the emergency is over, and when the emergency ends, fat storage stops. Clinical research has shown that consuming a small amount of dark chocolate daily can lower stress hormones within just 2 weeks. Not months. Not years. Weeks. Why does this matter so much after 60? Because as we age, our adrenal glands become more reactive. They respond strongly to deprivation, hunger, and exhaustion. Dark chocolate provides a rare combination of gentle sweetness, healthy fats, and calming nutrients that help regulate this stress response instead of triggering it. It also stimulates the release of endorphins and dopamine, natural feel-good chemicals that relax the nervous system. When your nervous system calms, your heart rate slows, digestion improves, and fat storage switches off. This is not about indulging. This is about biological reassurance. Another powerful benefit of dark chocolate is that it does not cause sharp blood sugar spikes when consumed properly. Its fiber and fat content slow digestion, keeping glucose levels steady. This stability further reduces cortisol and nighttime cravings. Think of it this way: your body doesn't need more restriction, it needs balance. Dark chocolate, used as a tool rather than a treat, becomes a metabolic signal that tells your body it's safe to let go of stored energy. However, and this is very important, this only works when you use the right type and the right amount. Eating an entire bar will not help you. Quality and timing matter more than quantity. In the next part, I'm going to explain exactly when to eat dark chocolate to get maximum hormonal benefit, and how this timing can stop evening cravings before they start. At this point, you know what works. Now it's time to understand when it works, because timing is the difference between dark chocolate helping your metabolism or simply becoming extra calories. For people over 60, your body follows a very specific hormonal rhythm throughout the day. Cortisol is naturally higher in the morning to help you wake up and get moving. As the day goes on, cortisol should slowly decline so your body can relax, digest, and prepare for sleep. But here's the problem. In many adults over 60, cortisol doesn't fall the way it should. Instead, it creeps back up in the late afternoon and evening. This is why so many people feel anxious, snacky, restless, or emotionally drained at night, even if the day wasn't particularly stressful. This late-day cortisol rise is one of the biggest drivers of stubborn belly fat. So instead of waiting until cravings hit, we use something I call the golden window, a specific time when the body is most receptive to calming signals. For most people, this window occurs about 1 hour after dinner or in the late afternoon, before evening fatigue fully sets in. When you eat a small amount of dark chocolate during this window, something powerful happens. The flavonoids and healthy fats immediately begin lowering cortisol. Your nervous system receives a message that food is available and danger has passed. This prevents the stress response from escalating later in the evening. Instead of fighting cravings, you prevent them. This is especially important at night. Many people try to resist their sweet tooth after dinner, believing discipline is the answer. But willpower is weakest when cortisol is high and energy is low. That's when overeating happens, not because you're weak, but because your biology is driving the behavior. By planning your chocolate intake ahead of time, you stay in control. Your body feels satisfied. Your brain relaxes. And late-night snacking loses its grip. There's another benefit to this timing that most people don't realize. Lower evening cortisol improves sleep quality. When stress hormones stay elevated at night, your body remains in fat storage mode while you sleep. But when cortisol drops, your body can finally shift into repair and fat-burning mode overnight. This is why timing matters more than calories. Eating the right food at the right moment creates a hormonal ripple effect that lasts for hours, sometimes all night. In the next part, I'm going to explain exactly how much dark chocolate you need, and why more is not better when it comes to calming your metabolism. This is the part where many people unintentionally sabotage their progress, by thinking that if a little works, more must work better. When it comes to dark chocolate and hormone balance, that assumption is wrong. The goal is not indulgence. The goal is precision. Research shows that you only need 1 to 2 small squares of high-quality dark chocolate per day. This is roughly 1 ounce. That small amount is enough to activate the stress-reducing compounds without adding unnecessary calories. Think of dark chocolate as a supplement, not a dessert. Your body responds to the chemical signal, not the volume. Once cortisol begins to drop, adding more chocolate does not increase the benefit. In fact, too much can slow fat loss simply by adding extra energy your body doesn't need. This is why portion control matters, but not in the restrictive, punishing way you've been taught. 1 square delivers flavonoids that relax blood vessels. 1 square stimulates calming neurotransmitters. 1 square tells your nervous system that it can stand down. Anything beyond that offers diminishing returns. There's another detail that's even more important than quantity, and it's something almost no one talks about. Speed. If you eat dark chocolate quickly, your brain doesn't fully register the calming signal. The nervous system needs time to process pleasure and safety. When food is rushed, the message is incomplete. That's why mindful eating is essential here. Place 1 square on your tongue and let it melt slowly. Don't chew it aggressively. Taste the bitterness. Notice the subtle sweetness. Allow the experience to unfold. This slow melting process activates the vagus nerve, which directly lowers heart rate and cortisol levels. It enhances the chocolate's hormonal effect without requiring more food. This is not about discipline, it's about physiology. When eaten slowly, that 1 square becomes far more powerful than 3 eaten mindlessly. You may notice something interesting after doing this correctly. I need you to listen closely, a sense of calm because what I'm about to share with you is your not breathing hype, slows, and it's not fear-based your desire drama. to snack disappears.
This is information that could
is the
genuinely
stress
protect your
response turning
life.
off. And I don't
This
say
calm
that
state
lightly.
is exactly
Most
what
people
allows
believe
your
high
body to
blood
stop
pressure
storing
is something
fat
that's
overnight.
handled once
You're no
they're on
longer fighting
medication.
cravings.
They assume
You're
the pill fixes
satisfying
the
them
problem.
intelligently.
But the truth
In the
is
next
far
part,
more uncomfortable.
I'll address the biggest
and
fear
far more
people still
important
have:
for you to
sugar,
understand.
weight
High
gain,
blood pressure
and
is
guilt,
not the disease.
and explain why dark
It is the
chocolate
warning
does not
sign that
behave
it's
like
your body
typical
raising a
sweets in
red
the
flag
aging
and
body.
saying, at this
Something
stage,
inside
I
me
know
is no
exactly
longer
what many
working
of
the
you are
way it
thinking.
should.
Even
And
after
here's the
everything
part
I've explained,
that almost
there's
no
still
one
a quiet
explains
fear
clearly
sitting in the back
while
of
you
your
feel
mind.
fine.
A fear built over
Damage can be
decades.
happening silently.
What about the sugar?
Inside your blood
What if
vessels
this
every
makes me
single
gain
day.
weight?
No pain.
What if I undo all
no
my
symptoms.
progress? No
These
warning.
concerns are
Just
completely
slow,
understandable.
invisible strain
You've
that
been
builds year
conditioned
after
for
year.
most of your
I've
life
seen
to
this
believe
pattern
that anything
countless times
sweet
in
is
my
dangerous,
patients,
someone
especially
starts
after
with a
60.
slightly elevated
But
reading,
here's the truth
maybe
that changes everything.
135 over 85.
Not all sweet foods act the same way in the body.
Let's be
Milk
proactive.
chocolate,
Pastries,
1 pill
cookies,
is prescribed,
and candy bars
a year
are mostly
later,
refined
the numbers
sugar and
creep up
processed
again.
oils.
Another
These
medication
foods
is
spike
added,
insulin,
inflame
then
the gut,
another, and
and
increase
yet
fat
somehow,
storage.
despite doing
That's where the
everything
fear
you're
comes
told,
from,
the
and
numbers
rightly
keep
so.
rising.
But
What's
high
worse
quality
is what
dark
happens
chocolate
after
is
the blood
metabolically
pressure
different.
cuff.
Sleep
When you
becomes
choose
restless.
chocolate that is
Energy
70%
fades.
cocoa or higher,
Brain
the
fog
sugar
creeps
content
in.
is very
Hands
low.
tremble slightly.
What you're mainly consuming
Afternoon
is
exhaustion
fiber,
becomes
healthy
normal.
fats, and
Memory
plant
doesn't feel
compounds
as
that
sharp.
slow digestion
And slowly,
stabilize
people
blood
start
sugar.
to feel like they're
This
losing
prevents
pieces
the
of
sharp
themselves
spikes
and
and crashes
crashes
that
its
trigger
age.
cravings and
They're
fat
told it's
storage.
stress.
For
They're
most
told
adults over
that's just
60,
how it is now.
even those monitoring
But that
glucose
explanation
levels,
is
1
incomplete
to 2 small
because when
squares
blood
does
pressure
not raise
stays
blood
elevated
sugar in a
despite
harmful
medication.
way.
In
It
fact,
usually means
many
the
people
underlying
notice steadier energy
system that
and fewer
controls blood
cravings
vessel
throughout the
function
day.
has been
There's another
damaged,
critical difference.
and treating the number
Dark
without addressing
chocolate
that
reduces
system
stress
is like
chemistry,
silencing a
processed
smoke
sweets
alarm while
increase
the
it.
fire keeps
This means dark
burning.
chocolate
Inside
doesn't
your
behave
arteries
like
is
a
a delicate
treat
inner
in the
lining
body.
called the
It behaves like a
endothelium.
calming signal.
It's only one cell
And when
thick,
cortisol
but it
comes
plays an
down,
enormous
your body
role in
stops
controlling
clinging to
blood
fat.
flow, vessel
The guilt you may feel
flexibility,
around eating
and pressure
chocolate is not
regulation.
biological.
When this
It's lining is
psychological
healthy,
conditioning,
your arteries expand
that guilt
and relax
itself creates
naturally.
stress,
Blood
which works
flows
against your
smoothly.
metabolism.
Pressure stays stable.
This is why it's
when
so
it's
important
damaged,
to reframe
everything
what
changes.
this food represents.
The vessels become stiff.
This is not cheating.
Constricted.
This is not
resistant.
indulgence. The heart
This is
has to
hormonal
work
support.
harder.
Pressure
Another
rises,
common worry is
not because
this
your
sounds
body
too
is
easy,
failing,
but because
and I
it's
understand that
compensating for
reaction.
something deeper.
We've
This
been taught that
damage
health
doesn't
must
happen
be earned
overnight.
through suffering.
It builds
That if
slowly
something
through
feels
years
good,
of inflammation.
it can't possibly be
Blood
helpful.
sugar spikes,
But biology
nutrient
doesn't work that
deficiencies,
way.
oxidative
If your
stress,
body is in a constant
and highly
state of
processed
stress,
foods that
no
starve
amount
the
of
body of what it
discipline will
needs to
override
repair
that
itself.
chemistry.
And most
Fat
seniors
loss
are never
only
told
happens
this.
when the body
Instead,
feels safe enough
they're
to
given
release
stronger
stored energy.
medications and fewer
Dark
answers.
chocolate simply
but here's
helps
the part
open
that
that
should
door.
give you hope.
Once
Your body
cortisol
still
is
knows how to
lowered,
repair
everything
this
else
damage
you're
that
already
IT
doing,
hasn't forgotten.
your walks,
It
your
just
balanced
hasn't been given
meals,
the right
your
tools
healthy
that I end this
habits,
series.
finally start
I'm
working
going to
the
show
way
you
they
exactly
should.
what those tools
In the
are.
next part,
Starting with
I'll
a
explain
simple
what realistic
2-minute
results
kitchen
actually
habit that
look like,
research shows
how
can
long it
support
takes to
healthier
notice
blood
change,
pressure
and
naturally
why
by restoring a
consistency,
critical
not
process your
perfection,
blood
is
vessels
what
depend
transforms
on.
your waistline.
But before I tell you what
now
it
let's
is,
talk about
you need
expectations.
to understand why it works.
Because
once
unrealistic
you understand
promises
that,
are one of the biggest
you'll never
reasons
look at your
people
blood
give up
pressure
too
numbers
soon.
the same way.
I want to be very
Again,
honest with you.
understand
This
why
is
blood
not a
pressure
magic trick.
becomes so
You will
stubborn.
not wake up
Why
tomorrow
pills
with a
often
flat
stop
stomach.
working.
Your
The way
body
they
didn't build
should. We need to
cortisol-driven
talk
belly
about what's
fat
happening
overnight,
inside your
and it won't release it
arteries at a
overnight
microscopic
either.
level.
But when you
Inside
lower
every
stress
blood
consistently,
vessel
your
is
body
that thin
responds
inner
in a
lining
way
I
that
mentioned
feels
earlier,
almost effortless.
the endothelium.
Most people
One
over
single
60
layer
begin
of
to notice
cells.
subtle but
That's all
meaningful
that
changes
separates your
within
blood
2 to
from the
3
artery
weeks.
wall.
Your
And despite
waistband
how
starts to
fragile
feel
that
looser.
sounds, this
Your
layer
stomach
is
feels
incredibly
less tight
powerful.
and less swollen
These cells
after meals.
constantly release
Your
chemical
body looks
messengers
calmer
that
instead
tell your
of
blood
inflamed or
vessels when to
puffy.
tighten and when
But
to
here's
relax.
something even more
The
important.
most important of these
Long
messengers
before the
is
fat
a molecule
visibly
called
changes,
nitric
your
oxide.
nervous system
Nitric
does.
oxide is
People
not a
often
vitamin.
tell me they feel calmer
It's not
during
a
the day.
hormone. They're
It's a
less
gas your
reactive
body
to small
produces on
problems.
demand, and
Their
its
mind
job is
feels
simple but
quieter in the
critical.
evening.
It tells your
Sleep
blood
becomes
vessels to
deeper
relax
and more
and
restorative.
open. When nitric
And better
oxide
sleep
levels
alone
are
can
healthy,
dramatically
blood flows
accelerate
easily.
fat loss because
Pressure stays
cortisol
controlled.
drops even further at
Your
night.
heart doesn't have to
This
strain.
creates a powerful
Oxygen
positive
and
cycle.
nutrients reach your brain,
Lower stress,
kidneys,
better sleep,
and
lower
muscles
cortisol,
efficiently.
easier fat
But when
release.
nitric oxide
And
production
it all
drops,
starts with one
your blood
small,
vessels lose
consistent
flexibility.
habit.
Consistency
Partially
is far more
constricted,
important
even
than
at
perfection.
rest.
Missing
Blood
a
has to
day
push
is not
harder
failure.
to get through.
Eating
And
an
your blood
extra
pressure
square once in a
rises,
while is
not
not
suddenly,
sabotage,
but gradually,
stressing
silently.
about doing
This
everything
is the real root
right
of most
defeats the
age-related
entire
high blood pressure.
purpose.
Your
What
body
damages
responds
nitric
to patterns,
oxide production?
not punishment.
First,
This
chronic
approach works
inflammation.
because it aligns with how your
Inflammatory
aging
molecules
metabolism
circulate in the
actually
bloodstream
functions.
and directly
You're
injure
no longer trying to
endothelial
force weight
cells.
loss through
Over
deprivation.
time, these cells
You're
lose their
removing the
ability to
hormonal
produce
roadblock
nitric
that's been
oxide
standing in your
efficiently.
way.
Second,
I
blood
also want
sugar
to be
spikes.
clear. This does
Every
not
time
replace
refined
healthy
carbohydrates or sugars
Gentle
cause
moves glucose to
protein-rich
surge,
meals,
toxic
hydration,
byproducts called
and
advanced
sunlight still
glycation
matter.
end products
But
form.
now,
Those
these
habits
compounds
finally
attack
start
the
working because your
endothelium
body
and
isn't
accelerate
locked
aging
in survival
inside the
mode
arteries.
anymore.
Third,
You are not
oxidative
fighting your
stress.
biology.
Free
You are
radicals
cooperating
damage
with
the
it.
enzymes
In
responsible
the final
for
part,
making nitric
I'll wrap
oxide.
everything together
Without
and guide
protection,
viewers toward taking
nitric
action.
oxide gets
Calmly,
destroyed almost as
confidently,
soon as it's
and
created.
without fear.
And here's
So
the
they feel
uncomfortable
empowered
truth.
instead of pressured.
Most modern diets,
Let's bring everything
especially
together
those
so you
common
can move
among
forward
seniors,
with clarity
create
and confidence.
all three of these problems
Your
at
goal
once.
is no
Highly
longer to
processed
punish your
foods,
body into losing
packaged
weight.
meals.
That approach
White
belongs
bread,
to the past.
pasta,
And for most
crackers,
people over 60,
sugary
it simply
snacks,
does not work.
very few
Instead,
vegetables.
your new goal
Very
is
little
simple.
fresh produce.
Lower stress so your body
Almost no
feels safe
nutrients
enough
that
to let
protect
fat
the
go.
endothelium.
Belly
Over
fat
years.
at this stage of
This
life is
creates
not
a
a
perfect
discipline
storm.
problem.
Be why the
It is
time
a
blood
stress
pressure
response.
numbers start climbing
Years
into
of
the
dieting,
140s
restriction,
or 150s,
and pushing through exhaustion have
the
trained your body
endothelial
to
damage
protect
has
itself.
often been present for
Once
a
you
decade
understand
or more.
that, everything
Medication
changes.
may temporarily
You stop
force
blaming
vessels
yourself,
open or reduce
you
fluid
stop
volume,
chasing extremes,
but it does not repair
you
the
start working with your
endothelial lining.
biology.
That's why the
Here is
problem
your new,
often
realistic
progresses
plan.
despite treatment.
Each day,
and this
choose
is
a
the
high-quality
moment
dark chocolate
where many
with
people feel
70%
defeated,
cocoa or like high
higher.
blood
Skip
pressure
milk
is
chocolate.
inevitable, but it
Skip
isn't
candy
because your
bars.
endothelium
Look at the label
can
and
heal.
make sure
Studies
cocoa
show
is the main
endothelial
ingredient.
function can
Once per
improve
day,
measurably
ideally
within
about
weeks
1
when the
hour
body
after
is
dinner. Eat 1
given
to
the
2
right
small
nutrients.
squares.
Nitric
Sit
oxide
down.
production
Slow
can
down.
rebound.
Let it
Muscle
melt on your
flexibility
tongue.
can return.
Taste it.
Blood pressure
Enjoy it
can
fully.
come down naturally.
This moment
but healing
matters more than
doesn't
you think.
happen
By
by
eating
accident.
slowly
IT
and
happens when
intentionally,
you
give your
activate
body the
calming
raw
signals in
materials
your
it
nervous
needs to
system.
restart.
Cortisol
Nitric
levels
oxide
begin to fall,
production
and
cravings
protectant once
fade.
it's
Your body
made,
shifts
and
out
this
of
brings us
survival
to the
mode
simple
and into
habit I
repair
mentioned
mode,
earlier,
especially while
a
you
habit
sleep.
that takes 2 minutes.
This is not about willpower.
A habit you can do tonight
This
in
is
your
about
kitchen.
consistency.
A habit that
I want you
directly
to try
feeds the
this for
nitric
14
oxide
days.
pathway. Your blood
Just 2
vessels
weeks.
depend on. I
No
in the next
extremes.
part. No
I'm going
fear.
to explain how
No
your body
guilt.
actually makes
Simply
nitric
observe
oxide
how your
from
body
food,
responds
and why one
Pay
overlooked
attention to how
ingredient
you
makes
feel
all
in
the
the
difference.
evenings, because once
Notice
you
your
understand
sleep
that
quality.
pathway, Notice how your
itself
stomach
will make
feels after
perfect
meals.
sense.
Now that
Many
you
people are
understand why
surprised to
damaged
find
blood
that their
vessels
body
raise
feels
blood
lighter
pressure
even before the
we
scale
need to talk
changes.
about how your body
That's
is actually
inflammation and
supposed to
stress
fix
leaving
this problem.
first,
Because
because
this
this
is
is
where
where
everything
everything
changes.
Remember,
Your body
you
does
are
not
not
rely
replacing
on medication
healthy
to
habits.
create nitric
You are
oxide.
making them effective
It
again.
relies on food.
Your
There are
walks,
two main
your
ways your
balanced
body
meals,
produces
your daily
nitric
routines
oxide.
finally
But as
start
we
working
age,
when cortisol
one of those
is no
systems
longer in
becomes
control.
weaker.
That's
This is
why
a
blood
shift from
pressure
force to support.
issues are so
From
common later in
restriction
life.
to
The
reassurance.
pathway
That
from
still
fighting your
works
body to
exceptionally.
partnering with it.
Well,
You have
even
spent your life
seniors,
taking
is
care
called
of
the
others.
dietary.
You deserve an
Nitrate,
approach to health that
nitrite,
feels
nitric
calm,
oxide
sustainable,
pathway,
and
here's how it
kind.
works.
Aging does
Step
not
by
mean
step,
giving up on
when
your
you eat
waistline.
foods that
It
contain
means
natural
using smarter
nitrates,
signals.
those nitrates
If
enter
you're
your
ready to stop
bloodstream.
the diet war
But
and
they don't
start
turn
working
into
with your
nitric
body,
oxide
I
right
want you to
away.
make a small
First,
commitment right
they
now.
need help from
Go to
something
the
most
comments
people
and
never
type
think
ready.
about.
That one
Beneficial
word is a
bacteria
promise
in
to
your
yourself.
mouth.
These
A
bacteria
promise that you're
convert
done with
nitrates into
stress-driven weight
nitrites
loss and ready for a
Then,
calmer,
once those
healthier
nitrates
path
reach your
forward.
stomach and blood,
If this message
your
helped
body
you today,
converts them into
please like
nitric
this video
oxide
and share
that
it with
nitric
someone who
oxide
needs to
then
hear
travels
it.
directly to
And
your
make
blood
sure to
vessels
subscribe,
and sends a
because I'll
powerful
be here
signal.
guiding you every step of the way with
Open.
science-backed,
Let the blood
realistic
flow within
strategies
minutes.
designed for your body.
Blood vessels become
This is
more
Dr.
flexible.
Christina Serrati.
Resistance drops.
Take a deep breath.
Pressure begins
Enjoy
to
your
fall.
chocolate.
This pathway
and
has been
start your
studied
reset
extensively.
tonight.
And
Green
it works
heart.
even in people who have had high blood